There are 4 lines in the history of poetry that encompass the entire philosophy of time, life, and death. This is not just a poem, it is a universal instruction left to us by the Persian sage Omar Khayyam. Today, we will immerse ourselves in his First Rubaiyat to uncover 5 key ideas that will change your perception of the present. We will explore 5 fundamental truths encoded in these lines. Let's start with the original source, Omar Khayyam's First Rubaiyat. Here is the guiding principle we will contemplate today. You know how the days of youth and spring end. Pluck the petals of joy before they are withered by dreams. It's a pity, but the time given to us will quickly pass. Be cheerful. While we are alive, drink, and do not await spring. For those who appreciate quality literature, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam is the essential classic for your shelf. This collection is perfect both for your personal library and as a valuable gift. Don't miss the opportunity. Order your edition now. The direct purchase link is located below the video.
The Critique of Procrastination, Putting Off Life. Khayyam's first and most pungent idea is his subtle critique of the habit of constantly putting off life for later. He observed with bitterness how people bypass their own happiness, preoccupied solely with the illusion of a future that never arrives. The poet whispers to us, dreams of an ideal tomorrow are a trap woven from indecision and fear of the present. Every day we postpone is a golden coin that irrevocably slips through our fingers. Khayyam urges us to understand, you deprive yourself of joy because you dare not live consciously here and now. The poet masterfully reveals the cost of this continuous deferral. It is not just wasted hours, it is the lost depth of experience. He gently reminds us that the past is already inaccessible and the future is merely an uncertain shadow on the wall. The real drama unfolds in the choice of a person who knowingly rejects readily available pleasure. This is a philosophical rebuke to those who hide their genuine feelings behind the mask of not yet. The Rubaiyat becomes an alarm bell demanding immediate, conscious presence in one's own life. In his elegant critique, Khayyam places full responsibility for internal emptiness on the individual. He believes we are the architects of our own constraints, constantly denying ourselves the right to simple, earthly joy. This self-deprivation, becoming a habit, robs us of our ability to feel deeply and plan effectively. This is why his words carry such powerful emotional weight. They awaken us to the necessity of seizing control over our current moment. Therefore, the first idea is a call for brave responsibility for one's choice today. The philosophical conclusion is simple and transparent. By postponing life, we merely delay meeting ourselves. Even the smallest but most sincere joy of the present is worth more than the vague promise of tomorrow. Khayyam calls on us to abandon the notion of endless time, as every dawn brings us closer to the end. He offers the opportunity to stop being a puppet of circumstances and start governing one's own sense of completeness. This is an act of philosophical freedom, to be responsible for one's own happiness. 2. The irrevocability and swiftness of time. The second central idea is the meditative realization of time's relentless linearity and furious speed. Khayyam sees time as a powerful current carrying us all in only one direction, with no possibility of stopping or turning back. He uses the image of the perpetually revolving sun as a subtle metaphor for our lives, which are steadily approaching their final limit. Every day that passes does not just disappear, it subtracts a portion of our allotted span. The Rubaiyat establishes a deep sense of the fragility of human existence. The poet conveys with exquisite simplicity, our life is but a fleeting spark against the colossal backdrop of cosmic eternity. He emphasizes that the passing moment does not simply end, it becomes absolutely irreversible history, which cannot be changed. This awareness should not breed sorrow, but should sharpen the sense of the unique value of every single breath. Khayyam seems to ask, if time is so precious, is it worth spending on trivialities or unnecessary worries? The main thesis here is, your life is a brief flash, so do not let a single moment pass without meaning. To reinforce this idea, the poet uses symbolism: sand slipping away, the fading light of a candle, or moving shadows. These images remind us of the natural boundaries within which we exist. The sage calls us not to be passive observers, but to actively fill every moment with meaningful content. Only the conscious enrichment of this time can give meaning to our transient sojourn in the world. Khayyam subtly contrasts the brevity of personal life with the endless cosmic clock. Against the backdrop of eternal stars and immutable natural laws, our existence seems delicate. This contrasting juxtaposition leads to a sober outlook, forcing us to focus on the one thing we can change: the choice in the present moment. The poet uses this metaphor to emphasize the preciousness and singularity of every individual human destiny. Thus, the realization of swiftness becomes our strongest motivator. 3. The philosophy of Carpe Diem, seize the day. The direct, joyful response to the swiftness of time is the third idea, the philosophy of Carpe Diem, expressed in the call to seize the day. This is more than advice. It is a way of being, an existential requirement to live here and now with maximum openness. Khayyam invites us to enjoy the real, tangible gifts of life available to us today. These gifts are simple and eternal: sincere friendship, the beauty of poetry, a moment of peace, or a sip of wine. This seize-the-day philosophy is a bold departure from a life based on the phantoms of the past or vague hopes for the future. The poet assures us that only the present moment has true weight. It can be felt, experienced, and turned into a memory. He gently cautions against sinking into regret or excessive planning, calling these empty illusions. Khayyam advises, focus on what gives you the feeling of life right now. The only real time you own and can control is the present. The philosophy of the Rubaiyat demands a kind of radical forgiveness from us, a liberation from the burden of old mistakes and worry about the unpredictable. Excessive emotional attachment to yesterday or tomorrow keeps us captive. The sage teaches, wise is he who lets go of what he can no longer change and does not worry about what has not yet come. This liberation allows us to gather all our energy for fully living out this very day. It is in this focus on the moment that the true release offered by the poet lies. The call to seize the day in Khayyam is extremely earthy and practical, far from abstract spirituality. He mentions specific anchors: wine as a symbol of intensity, poetry as a pleasure for the mind, and friendship as a source of warmth. These elements are our true treasures in a fleeting world, allowing us to feel truly alive. The poet invites us to turn every day into a small celebration, filling existence with beauty while it is near us. 4. The inevitability and unknown of death. The fourth, deeply meditative idea is the calm reminder of the inevitability of death, which is the only guaranteed finale of our journey. Khayyam uses images of destiny and stars to emphasize how insignificant our worldly worries are in the face of eternity. He reminds us, regardless of our achievements, the end for all of us will be the same. Death is the only absolute truth we can know about our future, and this makes our time doubly precious. The poet stresses that the greatest mystery is the inevitability surrounded by absolute unknown. We do not know its time, let alone its essence. This mystery can cause both deep fear and philosophical tranquility. Khayyam urges, do not waste golden hours trying in vain to solve what is beyond human comprehension. Instead, acknowledge your limitations and redirect your attention to the one aspect you can control, your life. The time of your end is determined by destiny, so do not waste the only thing you have, the present. The theme of death becomes not a sentence in Khayyam, but a motivating memento mori, remember death. The realization of life's finality should not be a cause for melancholy, but a powerful catalyst for an active, meaningful life. If we know for certain that time is finite, every day attains the status of a priceless gift that cannot be ignored. This is paradoxical wisdom. The fear of the final curtain should compel us to value every moment of the journey. This reminder is the key to choosing genuine, not imposed priorities. Khayyam suggests philosophically accepting death as the natural conclusion of a beautiful cycle. Such acceptance removes the burden of anxiety and allows us to focus on the very process of living. Instead of anxiously gazing into the distance where the unknown reigns, he suggests looking at the beauty that surrounds us. Only this focused vision allows us to feel the warmth of the sun and enjoy the scent of roses. Thus, the Rubaiyat transforms existential fear into a powerful motivation for happiness. 5. The call to conscious hedonism and freedom. The fifth, most daring idea is the call to conscious, wise hedonism. Khayyam encourages us to use our allotted time by enjoying material and earthly pleasures as they are real and tangible. He contrasts these pleasures with the abstract, unattainable promises of a heavenly paradise or the fear of hell, which only distract us from the present. Conscious hedonism is the philosophical position of choosing joy, beauty, and pleasure as the highest life value. This is the choice of genuine, not invented blessings. This wise hedonism is inextricably linked to the call for intellectual and spiritual freedom. Khayyam insists on liberation from all dogmas, superstitions, and societal frameworks that limit our true self. Freedom of thought and the critique of blind faith are fundamental conditions for a fulfilling life. He urges us to rely on our own reason to evaluate reality, rather than accepting others' truths blindly. Be free, value the true joys of life, knowledge, wine, love, while you have this precious opportunity. The image of wine in Khayyam acquires a deep symbolic meaning that extends beyond literal intoxication. Wine becomes a metaphor for the liberation of the spirit, freedom from burdensome rules, and the ability to perceive the world in its pure, undistorted form. It is a symbol of vital joy, creative inspiration, and intellectual courage. Wine is an accessible and real pleasure, contrasting with vain, unfulfillable promises. Thus, wine in the Rubaiyat signifies the intensity and completeness of a life lived without regret. In conclusion, Omar Khayyam's First Rubaiyat is an extraordinarily light yet profound manifesto for life. It gently teaches us to reject procrastination, embrace the philosophy of Carpe Diem, and bravely face death. The poet uses this realization as a stimulus for wise, conscious hedonism. This is eternal wisdom. Our only true time is now. Do not postpone your life until tomorrow. Live, feel, and enjoy today while the sun shines.